Hi, everyone. Tiffany, thanks for having me here. Thanks for taking good care of our kids the past week and a half or 2 weeks. So, I'm originally from the US, from Cape Cod. I live in London with my husband, who's Spanish. And my two kids, Rafa is 7.5 ish, and Coco is almost 2. So, a nice gap there where they like each other, but they can't really play with each other that much. So, it's like good and bad.
Tell me, what do you do in London?
So I work in finance. I work in a really client oriented role. My husband also works. We both work very full time. I travel a lot.
Okay, and so who's in charge of your childcare? Are the kids in school?
Rafa goes to school. He's in year 2. So he's occupied from 9 to 3:30ish every day, and then Coco's home with a nanny for the pretty much the whole day. So we've got a full time nanny in normal. I don't even know, really. I think it's been about 3.5 weeks probably, since they closed the schools, which I would say was kind of like the main, that's when life really changed.
At least here they gave us 24 hours in Madrid to kind of get everything together. I was like, what is 24 hours gonna do? You just told me my life changed. Not that we didn't see it coming, but I think we were like, la 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 la.
Yeah.
What were those first few weeks like? Because I had to go through that with a mother. My kids are 10 and 12. So that was really tough for us. But I can't imagine throwing toddlerhood in the middle of all that. Tell me, what were your first few weeks like?
They were pretty bad. The first couple of days, maybe there was a little novelty. Rafa was kind of excited. He didn't have to go to school, and it was, okay. But then it was very tough. We were continuing to try and work. There was a lot of uncertainty around work, so it was kind of important to be on top of what was going on. And then I think, our nanny has 2 small kids who go to school as well. So she and her husband too work. So suddenly she was also in a situation where she had 2 kids at home and like really nothing to do with them. So I'm not the most domestic person. And so on top of the work kids, there was like basic hygiene of the house and cooking. So it was really a stressful time. So for the first few weeks, it was basically just like a relay race. My husband and I were basically just like passing the kids back and forth like a baton. I'm working in the attic and he's working in the basement. So a lot of screaming back and forth, a lot of calling each other. So it was a really tough couple weeks. Poor Coco, I think she was so bored that she would be like, night, 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 night from about 10 a.m. You're like, it's not, you don't have to go to bed yet.
Is she asking to go to bed?
Yeah, she was like asking to go to bed. I think it was more interesting.
You could handle homeschooling, I would imagine, right? Kind of gave you some things for Rafa to work on. How was that? What did that look like?
Mainly worksheets. We do have an online, they did set up an online portal called Study Ladder, which had a couple of exercises, which was, is entertaining for maybe 45 minutes, but the day is long. And starting this week, we are supposedly doing a new Google Classrooms, I believe, but we haven't started that yet. So I think his school,
I'm not going to stress you out. My kids do that. I'm like, oh my gosh, they missed another meeting.
Yeah, no fault.
I find out after always.
Yeah.
No, I studied this.
So they really had to go from like 0 to 100 in overnight. So we'll see how it goes. It's a Catholic school, so when you ask, they say, just keep praying.
It's not working.
Yeah, I think Rafa is just lonely. He's a 7-year-old boy. He's lonely, misses his friends. As I said, Coco, he loves Coco, but, they can play for a short amount of time, but he doesn't really get back from Coco, what he would get from his 7-year-old friends. Also, he's a pretty active boy. We're lucky we don't have the smallest house in the world, but it's still pretty small. When Rafa was little, he used to visit Elviso and go to the nursery school there. And now the kids, whenever we're in Spain and it happens to work out, they'll visit the camp. So I think we obviously we know the quality. And after I visit tons of nursery schools here for my kids, and I'm always like, I wish we had English for Follow online and everything. And I saw your online camps and I was like, hey, I need something. So there's a lot of other, I think, activities like the kids have that are maybe they've gone online, but it's a half-hour a week. or maybe an hour a week, or it's like a YouTube video that works kind of once, but then it's the same thing over and over. So I just found those would be very one off. So I think I was like, hey, can we do this from London? Does that work? And you guys said yes. So that Easter camp has really been a lifesaver.
The Easter camp was really helpful for us as well, so that we could get the timing down. And it's funny because not only watching and knowing you and seeing how other parents were reacting to just having this minute, but I also was able to work out a lot of the kinks because my own kids were in camp. And so one of the biggest kinks, I said, if I need to be able to work and get things done, we have to find a way to combine some time so that I can have a 2-hour block. If I could just have a 2-hour block, it will change my life, and my kids are older, so I can't imagine other parents that were seeing that. And so we've combined it. So now there's actually it's a 4.5-hour day, which is really nice. And the virtual preschool is a 3-hour day. That's something different because when kids are 0 to 4, as a mom, it was such a relief to know that I don't have to worry about my kids and the Google chats and are they doing what they're supposed to be doing and this and that, because they were interacting with other kids, they were happy, they were engaged. And so that's when we realized, oh, okay, if this is working for us, I think this is something that we need to do, and probably we'll get virtual hugs all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice when people send me all these like links to a million websites, like 20 science experiments to do at home with your kids. I'm like, I don't have time to like do a science experiment, every day with him. But I think on English for Fun, Rafa loved the science experiments. I was asking before this, I was like, what was your best part? He's like, the exploding cappuccino and those type of things. Like he loved doing.
But also giving you activities to be able to do afterwards, because also for the parents, I know even with older kids, when Friday comes, I start freaking out because I'm like, what am I going to do with them for the whole weekend if they've been here inside? And so our Friday night dance party, which is thematic, is something that we have a really good time with. Or some of the other little things like we do parent yoga, right? We have our yoga classes that we do on Sundays as part of the program and on Tuesdays as well. So we can also get to work out and take care of ourselves, because I think that's what kind of goes missing in the middle of all of this. We're just kind of surviving right now, but if we can take care of ourselves and we can think for a minute, then we'll be able to survive and maybe even thrive. That's sort of the hope, no?
Really enjoyed it. And he gets actually mad at Coco when she like doesn't have the attention span. Like, Mama, Coco's not watching her class. Like, this is her favorite teacher. She needs to get over here, So he's kind of like trying to keep her in line while he's kind of doing his class on another iPad. So it's it's been
noticing is with Camp Quarantine is that the kids, they're already more technologically savvy, basically. These are digital natives, and they really like the camp and they like the classes. So they're actually now starting to check themselves into class. And so I'm telling the parents, I was like, pretty soon you guys can stay in bed. This is awesome. That for kids right now, we're not going to clearly like break the world record for best teaching abilities. We're not going to win a prize, moms and dads. I'm sorry. I really want us to, but we're not. We can't win a prize and be the best teachers ever with all this going on. So I think as long as we can just make sure that our kids are taken care of and that they're happy and that they're
stimulated,
about some things for a minute, that's a huge reward, not only for them, but for parents as well, because then it's like, okay, for that, that 4 hours, I know that my kid's going to be okay. And my kids were going for an hour. And it was after having so much chaos for several weeks, it was like the first hour that I actually took a deep breath and went, oh, okay, I know my kids are safe. It'll be fine. Because I saw them having fun. They were figuring it out. They were running all over the place. They have tasks that they have to get. And the teachers have done an amazing job of keeping them stimulated and changing activities and giving them opportunities to see new faces. So I think that it's something that, just as long as we can give our children that right now. I think that that's the best thing that we can do. And it is for them to have some extra.
They get tired of us. So I think it's really important that they have some, some exposure and stimulation to some other people as well. So, like Ralph will get off to, Olivia was on there and Nico was on there, so I think it's exciting for them to have like some kids that they see regularly other than their siblings.
Absolutely.
And
So Friday mornings, I DJ. All right. And we have some pretty big parties in the morning. I think the first days I shocked the kids and the parents, but I think now we all kind of look forward to it. And they're like, oh, it's just chill. What are you going to do? And I have to find a way to entertain myself somehow in my home as well. It was a stripes party, right?
I
And
sourced, yeah, yeah, they definitely were into it.
And so
Jailhouse
it's a
Rock.
little bit of a play on the fact that we're jailed inside.
Yeah.
We can't go outside, which we told everybody, keep studying, keep reading. This is how you make sure you stay out of there, right? We could have a lot of fun dancing to Elvis this morning. And I'm excited to come to class and do everything. So that's really nice. And hopefully that'll help save marriages as well. That's my big goal, After we've been stuck together for so many months, why call it quits at the end? It's like you're not gonna get any better. Just
I know.
if
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can
yeah.
do it 3 months in a row, I can do
Yeah,
anything.
so I would just say thank you to all of your staff. They've been great. Sometimes I'll get a text if, it's like, oh, where's Ralph? Is he okay? I'm like, oh no, he's just in Coco's classroom. Like by mistake. So but I think it's been like a really good, like a community point of view and a stimulation point of view and just like, making our family happier.